Hi everyone, welcome. It's Peg, and today I am starting off using some products to do some foiling with. These are stencils. They're yupo stencils made by my friends at PM Artist Studio. That's Patricia and Mariah. They make these stencils from yupo paper, which means they're plastic, and they're sturdy and they're nice and thin. So I am going to set this aside and let it dry because this stuff needs to be clear before it works. And yeah, I end up with a fail on this, but if you're going to fail, fail big. That's my motto. I keep on pushing through and doing things because I learn from each thing that I do how not to do things. So I'm going to lay down some of the sheet music so that my camera will focus while we do the live show. And I'm just going to clean off those stencils because I'm going to want to use them again. And because that's a glue adhesive that I put on there, that's the Duo glue, I want to make sure that they're good and clean so that I can use them for another project later on. So here we go. I am just getting ready for the live show. I die cut this particular little butterfly thinking I was going to use it for a foil card, and I do end up getting to that, but it's one of the last things that I do today, so let's get on with this. So Shell was a bit under the weather today, and I decided to go ahead and man the live show by myself. I'm just showing some different things that I have. These are different journals that you can use to store your ATC cards in. The last one there was from my friend Vicky. Vicky, you might know, you see her mod for us on Art Joy Sharing sometimes, but she has an Etsy store and she also does videos. So check out Messy Table Studio and you may find some products that you like. So there's PM Artist Studio and some of the stencils that I was using today. And I'm just showing yupo because yupo is one of the surfaces that we're going to work with today. So I had taken some of the printouts that I'd gotten from them, and I ran it through the laminating machine because, I also have some foiling to do for a surface effect. So, gonna get some alcohol ink and my yupo paper and a stencil and just start by creating a background with that, with the stencil and the alcohol ink. And I have this one from Tim Holtz. I think it's kind of a cool, almost looks like a map design. So, and I have this new monsoon ink color, which is very pretty. So I'm going to throw down a couple of different colors. I'm going to get a sponge and move that around a little bit on that yupo just to get it set. Now, typically, I would let this dry, but, it's a live show, so I'm going to take some acrylic paint, and I'm just going to spritz it with a little bit of acrylic paint, and then I'm going to hit it with a heat tool, try to dry that down a little bit so that I can keep on working. So I'll cut that down to 2.5 by 3.5, and that'll be our background for yupo. If you're not familiar with Art Joy Sharing, come and join us. We are a Facebook group, friendly group. We do all kinds of art. We have challenges each month, and this is one of them for the month of June. And there's a whole bunch of people doing ATCs. Use the hashtag AJOS, which is for Art Joy Sharing, ATC A Day 2022, if you want to post yours. So I have this stamp set from Tim Holtz and Stampers Anonymous. I love Stampers Anonymous rubber stamps. My favorite stamps are always rubber, and so you'll see me pull out a lot of rubber when I work. I do have some silicone and some other stamps, but if you want good stamps, you're going to get good red rubber stamps or white or whatever color rubber your country has. But they're going to last you a lifetime. They're going to be good stamps, and you're going to enjoy using them. So now I'm going to put a quote on this one, and that will be our first ATC for the day, which is yupo. There you have it. And I do end up coming back with a paint pen because that is wet ink on a plastic surface. It's got to dry down. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to go on to the next thing, which is receipts. So I have these receipt papers, and I'm just going to take a glue stick and glue some of these pieces down onto a backer board. So I found some rather interesting receipts. One said, what did it say? It was the sugar skull from a taqueria, and another one said something about exclusive deals, and I just, I thought, well, this is a fun way of creating a background because I've got all these different fonts and words and things, and I just sprayed it with some Tim Holtz ink from Ranger and got those all glued down to the background. And I'm going to come back with a stencil and some ink from Hero Arts, add another layer to give it a little more texture and dimension, go around the edge just to deepen it and, bring your eye back to the focal point, which is going to be the sugar skull. So I'm going to glue that down and add some of those words, add some stickers and a quote, and that will be it for our receipt. Pretty easy, right? You guys can all do this. I'm sure you've all got receipts in your wallet that can be torn up and glued down to a piece of cardstock. So let's see those ATCs and see what you do with this particular prompt. So I've got these, this whole thing kind of reminds me of Shell in the Southwest and the, cacti. And so I'm just going to glue that stuff down. I didn't like the way this particular sticker was a little bit big. So I ended up cutting it down and rearranging the parts to the sticker so that I liked it where I liked it on the card, the ATC. Okay, so that's the second one for today. Now for the third one, we're going to move on to washi tape. And my washi tape is going to end up being inspired by Shell. She did a really cool art doll with one of her ATCs. So I thought, well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do an art doll. So just starting with another backer board, and I'm going to lay some pieces of washi across that. This is going to be the body of my art doll, and I want this kind of striped effect. I thought it was interesting to have all these different textures and layers, and cutting it out, and then I decided, okay, now I need to cut that down for the body of my doll, and then I go to a box that has faces in it, and these are some of the fun faces that we made in a live show some time ago. I was showing you how to just create characters. And so I'm going to get out some brads, and because you can put a brad through this and your body parts can be flexible and can move around behind your ATC card, and so it mails in a much smaller piece. Now, some people who do ATCs are very particular. It has to be 2.5 by 3.5. I think we've shown you enough of those. We've also done some ATC coins, and I decided that I wanted to do a doll because Shell inspired me. So I'm getting a crown for her. I just take some of that paper that I was cutting out of another piece and add a crown to my little person here, and then I decided, well, she needs some legs too. She needs something to stand up on. So I'm grabbing another piece that has some legs. I'm going to put some buttons down the front with some of those brads. and yeah, just dress her up. I've got these little heart brads, and I thought, you know, it kind of looks like buttons don't going down the front of her smock here, so I'm going to put a few more of those in. And then I decided later that I was going to put some wings on her too, because yeah, I had this piece. It was wings, and yeah, she ends up getting modified even more. So I will put some final shots at the end here, but I'm going to keep on moving because I can do one more before the show is over. And this time I wanted to work on a foil card. I was playing around with this foil. This is that stuff that did not get dry, and I was trying to dry it down a little bit. And then I think the reason this failed was because it was a coated card, and when I put it through the laminator, it ended up heating up the coating on that paper. I think if it had been a porous paper, I wouldn't have had that issue. But yeah, I put it through the laminator just mostly to squish it. I probably just should have run it through my die cut machine instead of the laminator. But you see what happened is it ended up stuck down all over. So then I tried to get some of that off the background. I was able to bring a little bit up with a scrubby sponge, but yeah, just didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to. So I ended up cutting a piece out of this anyway for the background of my ATC, because I needed to do my foil ATC, and this definitely was foil. It was a rainbow foil, and you know, we do love our rainbows. So I have this foil that's a adhesive back foil that was just in my stash, and I cut it with this Sizzlet that has the die built right into it. It's I forget what they call it. It's a thing from Ranger, and it's a 3D dimensional die that has everything in it. So then I go to this, you know, I'm digging through my stash finding things when we have these challenges. And one of the things I found was this package from Prima that looked like a misprint package, and they weren't turning out quite right. So I decided, well, I'm going to use some of that on this ATC, and I'm going to put this butterfly down, and I add some, what do they call that stuff? It's Stays on ink, because Stays on ink will work on just about anything. And then that's the piece that I peeled off the back of the butterfly, and I thought, well, that'll make great wings for my little art doll. So I just inked that a little bit with some of that Stays on too. And there we go. We're getting to the end of the show, showing the final products. I'm going to take a white pen and do a little bit of mark making on these. And that'll be it for the live show on Art Joy Sharing in fast mode from me today. If you want to see it in slow-mo, go over to Art Joy Sharing channel, and you can watch the whole thing in real time and catch the captions and the comments. So thanks for being with me today, guys. I always enjoy these days where I get to spend time with my friends, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.